Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Updates. We've got some breaking news tonight out of Charlotte, North and South Carolina in this case, where we've just learned that Carowinds seems to be clearing land for a 2019 attraction. Now, this is something...
It's a giga. Oh, wait.
This is something that's been rumored for a while. That you have a little bit insight here. People have been talking about a new Project Alpha, down at Carowinds for a while now, and it seems that the land has been cleared over by the water park. It seems like a large tract of land, and new speculation is that Carowinds will be getting a wood coaster, something that they desperately need after the removal of Thunder Road a few seasons ago, and a new wood coaster will be coming to Carowinds in 2019. So, Danny, what are some of your thoughts, and what might we expect here?
Well, I think it would be a good fit. I mean, we've talked about how, Carowinds, especially with the removal of Thunder Road, really needs a wood coaster. I mean, you've got a Hurler and you've got the small, Woodstock Express wood coaster. That's it. That's all you've got. I still would have said that they needed a new wood coaster, even if Thunder Road had remained, but definitely, especially, if Twisted Timbers, continues to be a success, as the season rolls on here, I wouldn't be shocked if at some point down the road, we saw the Carowinds Hurler get a similar style treatment. It would probably be a little bit less money considering the design work has already been done. Maybe it's not going to be a straight clone. Maybe they do some different things with it, but you could certainly get a very similar ride out of it. That having been said, that takes away a wood coaster, so you definitely need one. For me, it would be a welcome fit. I think the two big things that come to mind for me when you talk Carowinds as to what they need, I think wood coaster is at the top of the list. I think the second thing that is a very close second, I think, is a launch coaster.
Yeah.
They don't have one. They've got a shuttle coaster in the Boomerang, but they don't really have a launch coaster. So, it'd be really neat to see them get one of those as well. So I don't know which way they're leaning here. It sounds like maybe they're going wood coaster based on the rumors, but they are really just that at this point for the most part. But I'll go back to the Coaster Radio meetup from last year, which took place Memorial Day weekend at Carowinds. I'm not going to name names, but during the live podcast, one of the questions posed to us by the hosts was, what do you think Carowinds needs, or what do you think Carowinds could do next? And a representative from the park was at the show and was listening in. And a gentleman in the crowd who is a listener of the show said, I noticed that there's a little bit of, they removed the water ride back by the water park, and there's a nice clearing of land there. I would love to see them put in like a GCI wooden coaster or something like that. And as this gentleman is saying this, the park representative gets up and leaves the room. He left the room, and when he came back to the show recording, looked at the gentleman who said all this and just started shaking his head and, was kind of chuckling. And he didn't say this, but the look on his face said, "Y'all are going to get me in trouble," is kind of what his face said. So, again, I don't know if that's, just a little bit of, friendly, back and forth there on the part of the park to, maybe get us excited for a few years down the road. Keep in mind, this was 2017 that this was happening. But maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
Carowinds is a park that they're pouring a whole lot of money into, that we know that this has been their plan. This is going to be the southern headquarters of Cedar Fair.
Yeah, you've got the hotel coming.
You got the hotel coming. Fury 325 greatly increased attendance to the place. We know that the new CEO, we know Matt We Met has kind of stepped aside. The new person taking his job is actually going to be housed at the Cedar Fair offices at Carowinds. So for the first time in as long as I've been going to theme parks, the guy in charge of Cedar Fair is not going to be at Cedar Point. He's actually going to be at Carowinds.
That's big. I mean, that's not
shift.
something to be taken lightly.
Yeah, that's a big shift. We know this new guy is a Parks guy. We've been told is going to be seen. So, I get the feeling that Carowinds is soon going to be one of the flagship parks in the Cedar Fair chain. If not number 2, then definitely going to be number 3. You could make the argument Cedar Point 1, Kings Island 2, and then Carowinds at 3 possibly.
Yeah, I think Carowinds is kind of quickly moving up into that. I mean, in terms of money and revenue and guests, I mean, it's always been Cedar Point, Knott's, and Canada's Wonderland. But I don't view Canada's Wonderland or Knott's really as flagship type statuses. With Six Flags, you've got Magic Mountain and Great Adventure. Those seem to be like the clear. Those are the 2, and then I think Great America might be a 3rd one.
Yeah,
maybe over Georgia's after that. But Magic Mountain and Great Adventure are the 2 that are always argued as the flagship. Cedar Point is definitely the flagship. After that, you could make the argument. For a couple of, Kings Island might be the next one you would go to, but I think Carowinds is emerging as that secondary flagship property. They're getting the hotel, which is a big step for any theme park to get a park owned hotel is certainly a big deal. And again, the executives, the higher ups being located at a particular location is another. I think that's the reason that Six Flags Over Texas gets talked about as maybe another flagship of Six Flags, because it is the original. That tends to be Cedar Point. That's Cedar Point in both aspects. It's the original and it's the main park. So there's a lot of things to consider here, but do not be surprised if Carowinds is invested in again heavily many times over the next several years.
And now what's interesting about this too is there's some people coming out that's saying that maybe this isn't going to be a GCI. Maybe this is going to be a ground up RMC. That one's a little bit harder for me to buy because I know Cedar Fair has this relationship with GCI. Obviously, they're working with RMC now. But I'll tell you what, if they built a ground up RMC, there has not been a ground up RMC that I have disliked at all, Danny Miller. So
we've been very clear. Yeah, we've been very clear about that. The wood coasters that they have built from the ground up are pretty spectacular. And then the Iron Horses tend to be a little bit, at least for you, tend to be a little bit more hit or miss.
Yeah. So I would still probably bet on GCI here. That's the easy bet, but I think the more exciting answer might be a ground up RMC. Now, granted, a lot of those RMCs did take advantage. You look at Outlaw Run and Lightning Rod, and they took advantage of the terrain, and that's not going to be the case here at all.
Right.
We also saw. I don't know if you saw this, Danny, but out at Energylandia in Poland, they're getting a ground up RMC topper track wood coaster that's going to take the height record from Great America, it seems. It looks like the layout looks a lot like Goliath. There's obviously some element changes in there, but the layout looks a lot like Goliath. The whole ride looks a lot like Goliath, and they are going to take the height record from, or at least the drop record, I think, from all the wood coasters. That's going to be the tallest wood coaster supposedly in the world. So we'll follow that as well. So that's kind of exciting. That's why I kind of also lean towards RMC having way too many projects being rumored. Maybe this one's probably going to be GCI.
Well, and I mean, we don't know what's going on with Kennywood either yet, which is supposedly a 2019 project. And there's talk that might be RMC as well. So I don't know, but it seems like RMC is the go-to and the rumor mill these days.
Wow.
But Cedar Fair, for whatever reason, still has that GCI feel to me, especially having rides like Mystic Timbers and Gold Striker in the last 5 or 6 years here. I still feel, and there's always the rumor that Dorney's going to get their GCI at some point down the road. So there's always crossing my fingers for that one. But GCI, I would still, like you, would lean GCI for the Cedar Fair parks right now. And I would love for Carowinds to get a GCI. I think that would be a very nice addition for them to kind of round out their collection.
Well, as always, we will keep you updated here on all the latest rumors and news throughout this season. So we're hot on the trail of 2019 already. So this is really one of the opening salvos here. So as always, I'm, of course, Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
And as always, right on, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.